Hey there, it's Chris from Good Roads, and before we get into the project this week, I want to give a huge shout out to my homies who are helping to organize the We the Riders Mountain Board Tour. It's our US tour here in America. The first event, Colorado, went down a couple weeks ago, and it went off in an epic way. It was a big free ride event out in a legendary spot, and they even did a throwback old school hard wheel competition, which I think is so cool. The US Open is up next at Cedar Ledge in Canton, Pennsylvania. Check out wetheriders.org for all the information, and hopefully I'll see you there. Okay, on with the video. I have been having a lot of fun experimenting with my laser cutter lately. So when Jiccoda reached out about getting me another one, I immediately said yes. But do I need another machine? Is this machine worth the squeeze? Let's find out. The Jiccoda L1 laser engraver is a 10-watt diode machine. It's got a working area of 400 by 400 millimeters, and right now it's going for about $320 on Amazon, which I think is an important point to note right away. The other laser cutter I have, and my only real point of reference, costs about 4 times as much as this machine. So I've got to keep that in mind. This is more of a budget or hobbyist option. The assembly was fairly straightforward, but there were a couple places where the order of operations was wrong in the instructions.
It's not gonna fit. That's not gonna fit. Oh wait, can I move this? No, I can't move this. That's not the order that has to be assembled in. That's annoying. I meant to install a limit switch here, but there's no way to get the screw and screwdriver in place because that breakout board's in the way. So I'm gonna have to take apart the X-axis in order to get that switch in place. So the instructions are bad there.
It's a pretty easy fix, but the fact that I had to undo a bunch of previous work because the instructions were out of order is not really a good look. But all things considered, that's a problem with the documentation and not necessarily a problem with the machine itself, and it was really easy to figure out how to fix it. I actually really appreciate all the cable routing on this machine and the fact that all the connections are plug and play. It's a really nice touch that makes assembly very easy. And there we have it all assembled. It's got a nice anodized aluminum chassis, and again, just like my other machine, it's got custom extrusions, which I really like. I'm curious why we don't see more of this on 3D printers. Let's take a look at the I/O, because this is where things start to get just a little bit weird. We've got a power switch and a barrel port for powering the machine. All good there. Then we've got a USB slot labeled roller, which I believe is for an optional rotary axis add-on. Then we've got button. Yep, sure is. And a port for a screen? Just for reference, that's also where you plug in a computer. I figured that out later. And a memory card reader. Huh. I guess I've just got to say it straight out. I've never seen anything like this arrangement on a Cartesian machine before, laser, 3D printer, or otherwise. My guess is that if you connect some kind of screen, you can navigate it with our friend the button, to run cutting jobs directly off an SD card. But out of the box, there's no way to do this. The machine basically needs to be tethered to your computer in order to run, which, again, kind of weird, but maybe that's part of how they're getting the cost down. It's not unheard of. CNC routers often need dedicated computers. It's just a little confusing. They also sent me this honeycomb backing underlayment thing, which is actually really cool. It helps reduce the charring on the back of parts that are cut out with a laser, and it gets you much cleaner lines. I like the rulers at the edge too. I could see this being really useful for alignment in a setup that's more locked down than mine is. 10 out of 10 on this one. It's a really great add-on. But when I turned on the machine, this started happening. I don't know what you want. And that's kind of just the beginning of my tribulations. I got it connected to my computer and followed the instructions to get a profile loaded into Lightburn, but it wouldn't move.
So the steppers are all powered, so it seems like everything's hooked up correctly. I'm not hitting any end stops. Emergency stop is off, which, by the way, here, check this out. Okay, push to power off, right? That part makes sense. And then rotate to unlock, right? So we got power again, but oh, it's moving! This is unexpected! Hold on! What the dude? Well, it's homing. Anyway, you turn the E-stop and look what happens. Because it's spring-loaded and not fixed. Boing! Comes right off.
Eventually, after turning the machine off and on and restarting Lightburn,
hey, there we go! We got control of the machine! Alright! Cool.
So the machine is working, right? Let's try some test cuts. I dropped some paper in place, and I set the height using this built-in kickstop. Jeez, this thing is annoying.
Shush!
But when I tried running the job,
Immediately stopped. G-code locked out during alarm or jog state. Lovely.
and there's our culprit. What I believe is a little IR receiver that's meant to work as a fire detector and shut off the machine if, you know, it's on fire. And while in theory I appreciate this nod towards safety, here's my issue. This sort of open frame machine doesn't have any kind of fume extraction or filtering. And as I learned experimenting with my first laser cutter, they will fill up a basement or back room with stanky, probably unhealthy smoke right quick. Since I don't have any indoor high ventilation areas available, I'm using mine out on the porch, you know, to be safe. But you know what gives off an awful lot of infrared radiation? The sun, which is, you know, outside. So my only option for using this machine in a safe way triggers its primary safety feature. Yeah. Well, here's my dumb solution. I'm babysitting the machine anyway, so if anything combusts, that's what the emergency kill switch is for. But now that an auto shutdown was triggered, something is, I don't know, busy?
Busy? What are you busy with?
With the machine in Lightburn? I lost control of it again. And this is the last big issue I have with the machine. The connectivity is a real hassle. The machine would disconnect from my computer at strange times for strange reasons, and reestablishing a connection was, as far as I could tell, random? It was basically turn stuff on and off until it all decided to play nice together and work again. I'm on an old Mac laptop, so I don't know if that's part of the problem, but the included drivers wouldn't even open on my machine. Now, my contact at Jiccoda said she was working with their dev team to fix that, so hopefully it won't be an issue for long. And seriously, I mean that. I hope they're able to fix this stuff, because waiting on the other side of all of this hassle is actually a really capable machine. Check it out.
Once again, I've got the machine as far as to frame the job that I'm trying to run, so I know basically where it's located. I'm going to send it. I don't know what I did to make it do that, and I don't know what I'm doing to make it not do that, so that's fun.
That is actually pretty dang good. You know what? Since this machine is more engraving focused, let's try a raster image burn. I've never tried one of those before. And that came out pretty dang good. I'm happy with that. This is a little flyer for the New York stop of our mountain board tour. It did kind of a pointillist version of the image, but you can still see the subject and read the text. Good job. Okay, well, now I need to think up some other projects. How about a Good Roads patch in leather? The cut settings could use a little refinement, but that's my job, that's not the laser's fault. And that engrave actually looks fantastic. I love how that came out. Okay, I've got one more thing I want to try. I'm working on a sort of board dice game thing, and it might be cool to have a coin with front side on one face and back side on the other. So I engraved and cut one side of my coin, and then, using the stock it was cut from as registration, I flipped it and engraved the other side. Pretty cool. And again, came out pretty cool. Don't mind that little burn there, that's user error. So where do I stand on this thing? Well, I find it to be a kind of frustrating machine. But it's only frustrating because it can't seem to get out of its own way. When it works, I like it a lot. I actually think I like the way it does engraving better than the other machine I have, which costs 4 times as much. Yeah, the engraving especially, it's really good at that. And for cutting and everything else, it's perfectly capable. Because of that, even with all the connectivity issues and the false positives on the fire detection, I'd still say it's a pretty good hobbyist machine, especially for the price. But if Jiccoda is able to tackle those connectivity issues and maybe, I don't know, give us an option to shut off the fire detection, I'm not really sure how you'd tackle that one. This machine would be really awesome, and it's totally doable. These are all software issues. The hardware seems to be working just fine. So would I recommend it? Yeah, sure. Especially if you're getting it as a hobby machine and don't mind tinkering a little bit. But keep an eye out for firmware upgrades, because if they're able to address some of the issues that I ran into, that recommendation goes from a why not to a yeah, absolutely. Come on, Jiccoda, you guys got this. So if you want to grab one, there are affiliate links down below. I got a link for that honeycomb thing as well, and that thing really is a great piece of kit. I've been using it a ton. Thanks to Jiccoda for reaching out and getting me the machine, and thanks for the team over there for being open to feedback. I really appreciate that. It's a good sign. And that's going to be it for this one. Huge shout out as always to my supporters over on Patreon. I love having you along for the ride. If you want to see more awesome DIY board stuff, go ahead and subscribe. We do this kind of thing all the time. And until next time, I'll see you soon. It's like a gentle brush.